Hi, in this video, we'll just talk about a little history about Chabacano, Caviteño. So let's start. Our Spanish starts at Latin American Spanish, started at 1565. They migrated during Spanish occupation, not just only in Mexico, but in Mexico they are the big influencers in us during the Gallian era. During the Gallian era, starting from 1571 up to 1821, I think that is Mexican independence. They migrated as Mexican soldiers, priests, administrators, or any kind of job. A lot of them intermarried with Filipinos, and together with Tagalog laborers and Hokkien Chinese traders, some of them from not only from Hokkien Chinese, some of them are from Japan. That's why there's a lot of Asian migrants in Latin America as well that started from the Philippines. They all started from the Philippines, and other smaller groups like little from Arabs and other local native things. Their last destination is not in Manila but in Cavite, because Cavite City or Ciudad de Cavite was their last destination in Asia, which a lot of traveling on the Philippine Islands. The last destination is in Cavite Puerto. Is where they put their ships. Yeah, it's a shipyard back then during the Spanish occupation. For people who going to migrate in Latin America, from Acapulco or from Peru or from Chile or from Cuba or Puerto Rico, the last destination would be Cavite Puerto, and they bring us a lot, like from tamales, pipian, and a lot of Mexican tradition that is a different name in the Philippines, obviously, and some Latin American traditions that you would see on us. That's why if you travel in the Philippines, you're gonna love us. It's like we're brothers. Cavite City history started in Spanish era during 1571 to 1898. It was established as a city in the Philippines. It is one of the last destination of Spaniards and from Latin America, and Cavite Puerto is the shipyard place. San Roque is the main town. Caridad is the suburbans. In Cavite Puerto, and those three have three accents. But in Cavite Puerto, it's already extinct because it has a bad history. San Roque is very slow. I cannot post you the old people who can who can give the accent from San Roque, but in Caridad it's very very fast. And people would just say typically is "Hola, usted que pasa?" Or they would say "Que tu pasa?" Tao gayo basketball agora. Chabacano in Zamboanga, because when there's Spanish occupation. Back then, Zamboanga was still a Muslim majority places, and it was separate in Spain during the 1800s. But once Spain conquered Zamboanga, the builders and the ship makers are from Cavite. And those people are Chabacanos, and they introduced the language to the people to have understanding from the indigenous people and from the indigenous people and from the locals who are Spanish speakers and from the indigenous people. The language from Zamboanga is very different from Cavite because the mix of Cavite is with Tagalog in the Philippines, while in Zamboanga it is mixed with other indigenous languages like and plus Bisaya. So that's what I know about Chabacano de Zamboanga. We are one of the builders of Fort Pilar in Zamboanga and a lot of churches in there. Then they later intermarried with the locals. Then the language was being mixed through years. That's how I know about. And if you're talking about what's the difference, it's primarily the spelling. Like for example, how they pronounce aki, which is here. In Zamboanga, they pronounce it like AKI. In Cavite, we spell it like AQUI. That's one of the difference. Then plus when they speak donde, they say onde. This is usually spoken in Manila, in Ermita, Manila, in Ciudad de Cavite, and in Ternate, Cavite. We have differences, but the grammatically thing, it's 90% Spanish, but the grammatics is in Tagalog, similar to Tagalog. So that's how we are different from the actual Spanish. Corrupt. Chabacano is also called as corrupted Spanish, which is famously known Chinese Spanish because it was a lot being spoken with Chinese Filipino back then. Then Español de Parian, or it was being called as the market Spanish. So that's why how Chabacano was being known for it before. We have 31 letters in Chabacano. 26 letters is similar in English. There are four letters that is from Spanish, which is CH, double L, N, and double R. And one letter from Tagalog, which is NG, which is nga. We remove ADO to AO of the words. Like for example, calmado, calmao, llamando, llamao, cuidado, cuidao, confusionando, confusionao, interesado, interesao, lado, lao. So a lot of words from ADO becomes AO. So get to know that because we have Andalusian Spanish as well. A lot of R are being cut in Chabacano de Ciudad de Cavite, like hablar, habla, repetir, repetí, llamar, llama, llegar, llega. I'm serious about that. You would hear a lot of us cutting it out. We pronounce R to L like urmugas, ulmugas, hermana, hermana, hermosa, hermosa, señor, tuñol, sabor, to sabol. So just don't be confused if we pronounce E to E O to U. Like for example, entero, enteru, gente, genti, hace, así, conoce, conocí, tene, tení, parece, pareci, quiere, quieri, escuela, escuela, gigante, giganti. Then if we are pronouncing O to U, it's just like this. Filipino, Filipino. Caviteño, caviteño. Martillo, martillo. Cigarillo, cigarillo. Just like that. We repeated words by attaching ng at the end of the vowel. So like this, guapang guapa, pokong poko, sabrosong sabroso, lienong lieno, altong alto, just like that. We don't use la, las, and los. We have different word for that. For la, we might pronounce ta. We have a word for that is ta. Then las and los, there's a general word for that, which is mga. Like los libros or las libros, you would say mga libros. Or las mujeres, we will pronounce it like mga mujeres. That's how Chabacano in Spanish is very different. We just only use that for time, special occasions, or titles, or events. One of the reasons why Cavite Chabacano decreased is we suffered the World War II. That's the fact. We were being bombed, especially Cavite Puerto, which a lot of people who's Chabacanos intend to erase the bad memories, so they migrated to other towns or other provinces. Second one is the presence of American. Yeah, like they have a Navy station here in Cavite City. That's why plus we shifted from Spanish, English to Tagalog in the Constitution. So right now we remove Spanish in the language, but we still speak English and Tagalog fluently. We decrease of Spanish usage. I think this is one thing that a lot of Americans did in the Philippines, is that they reduce the amount of Spanish speakers, then they replace it in English. Plus, so it results that it is not tolerable in the community. I mean, it's totally not tolerable. Like in Cavite City, it's very hard to find right now who is a Chabacano in my age, 20s. It's very hard. I've seen from people who is from Cavite City, they don't really know how to speak Chabacano. In the present day, according to the research, we're just only 3,000 speakers left in Cavite City, but actually it's not the right number, because a lot of us were scattered all over the Philippines and all over the world. So most of the speakers are from Caridad and from San Roque. They are much more the one who speaks a lot and has the accent. The Catholic Church starts a program to help us, because come on, Regada is one of our best fiestas here. They help us to start by starting a mass, Catholic mass, that is entirely Chabacano, and they're starting it, I think, until now online. We have small schools who practice Chabacano in Ciudad de Cavite, but not as tolerated. I wish it would be. Then we have an online presence, strong online presence right now. Just like if you're watching in my video, we are starting to have an online presence to reconnect a lot of more people. That's it. My conclusion about this video, and for all of my viewers, whether you're a foreigner or you're a Filipino, uh, I wish that, especially if you're Caviteño, I wish that you watched my video in the sense of how you will appreciate our languages. Like in Cavite, we should appreciate our parts of our history, especially if you're born and raised. Because, especially if you're from Ciudad de Cavite or Cavite City, come on, this is the language of our ancestors, and it's a shame that we are losing this kind of language, and it's very rich. And if we forgot this kind of language, we just forgot ourselves being Filipino. And that's what I want. And that's what I created this video. So, I hope you like. Please like and subscribe about my channel. I hope you really learn about this video, even though I'm just an amateur and I still lost my words.